Rolling around in PvP with the fire team, yep. Got my shotgun, got the hand cannon, out shooting heads. Doing what I can. That was Dead Man's Tale. Took it to the ground, underground, 6 feet. Now I gotta get back up again. Yeah. Moving to the Bravo with the fire team. It's a movie lotto. Take your ticket, take a seat. We seeing what's gonna happen. Bottom fragging, that sweaty game swagging. Yep. There it is, Cyn.
One more chip.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Okay.
All right. Now recording in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the Guardian Hub podcast, where we stay magical and talk about our love of the game. Tonight, we are not live. We are hiding in the podcast green room, and it is actually just me and Kato with candles, and he is shirtless. How are you doing today, Kato?
Why does it always have to be me about being pissed?
I don't
because
know.
it's a fact. Doesn't change it.
I know, it just feels right, like, though, every time. Just knowing that you're out sitting over there shirtless and just calling you out on it.
Yeah. That's fair, I guess.
Other than that, how has your week been?
It's been all right. It's finally starting to cool off here. It's kind of nice. Gonna have a nice, wonderful high of like 61 degrees tomorrow.
Nice and cool?
Yeah. It's better than the high 80s we've had, so.
Yeah, I'll take the 60, 70 temp any day. Not looking forward to the cold season coming up, but this weather I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Shoot, I've been first day off since Sunday, really. And Sunday's not really a day off because it's birthday time. Was like kind of a birthday party for my youngest. She did it with her cousin. And that was work, setting up and running around all day. And then I worked a week straight last week. So that was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. My days blend together at this point. But other than that, I've been, I took today as an opportunity to rest, mow the grass, which, by the way, electric mowers, because I don't have a big yard. I switched from a riding lawnmower to an electric push mower, and that thing I had to charge multiple times. It's kind of awful, not going to lie.
Can see that. I have way too much yard for that, so.
So you have a tractor? Like a big Kubota?
I should really buy one, yes.
Well, you should get on that.
Have you looked at the prices of those?
It's expensive. Just finance it. You'd be okay.
I'd rather not, but, you know.
That is fair. And how has your week been in gaming?
We did a all clan run Monday. That was a Root of Nightmares. It was fun.
Nice.
I hate that raid still. Like,
it's not that bad. It's a raid.
It's bad. Okay. Tuesday did the, I guess, final story mission. I don't know. That was interesting. Kind of a letdown. Wednesday finally did a Crota run. Got birded like 4 times during Crota. It's nice.
I remember that. It's kind of awful.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was there. It was really annoying. Um, right before this, I actually went and did the Master Challenge this week.
Solid.
Uh, it's interesting. It's definitely doable.
So what is the challenge? This is the Witches Challenge?
Yeah. Ute.
So what do you have to do for it?
Everybody has to have the chalice before you can pass it again.
Mm.
So you have to get 5 enlightens and then a deposit, and then you have to keep that same rotation and pick it up again. And
Doesn't
because
seem too awful, but in Master, I can imagine.
in Master, it's one of those. If you get a death, you can kind of recover on first phase, but if you get a death on second phase, you might as well just wipe and start over.
So you were pretty solid 2-phasing it?
It's a tight 2-phase if you're not. Definitely have to be on point.
That's fair. Well, man,
Yeah, what did you do this week?
what did I do? I worked Monday. Tuesday, I worked late. Yesterday, I was with you during that Crota run. And then actually, no, it was Monday. I actually did a raid. I jumped in and filled in for somebody, I believe. Did I jump in? I can't remember now. I might have jumped in. I did jump in for the FUD raid on Monday night.
Oh, I didn't know there was a FUD raid.
Yes.
Oh, wait, yes, I did. Yeah.
And then after our Crota raid last night, actually Native messaged me, and they had one that dropped out due to storms in his area. And he couldn't get back on the internet. And so I filled in. And we cleared it, I think, first or second run after that. So not bad. And then other than that, I've been playing some Cyberpunk. Actually tonight, really. The last couple hours, been plugging away at that. There's a lot of story there. And I got to a point where I'm like, not sure really what happened because my character died after a mission. And now I'm singing a rock band on stage. And that's where I paused it and jumped over to this.
Nice.
Yeah, Cyberpunk's definitely interesting. Running it on the new computer is nice. Everything seems pretty smooth. I didn't play a lot when it first released to see all the glitches, but now I'm enjoying it. It's okay.
Me.
And actually, I did, I think since the last time I recorded, I actually did jump into Hogwarts Legacy again. I know that was a thing a while back when it first came out, but there was some stuff that I hadn't done in the actual game. I kind of dropped it and forgot about it there for a while, but I jumped back in for a couple hours. It was one night within this last week or so. I jumped back into it. Nobody was on and doing anything, and I was like, nah, let me go back in. Something different. So not bad. All right. So I did not read the TWID here this week. I don't know if you did or not.
Nope. There's a lot of changes coming into mid-season patch.
Yeah. Let's pull it up here right quick. While I'm pulling that up, we did have a couple questions for the show we can knock out. One I'm going to save for next week when Kingsley Mac returns from his birthday shenanigans. So, Mr. Monkey, I'm not going to forget about the Kingsley Mac question. So, first question from Dorrath. Question for the show. My worst experience raiding was doing Kingsfall back in Destiny 1. We got to daughters, sisters, and people kept dying during the platforming. The Sherpa, quote unquote, said the next person who falls is going to get booted. So when the next person got randomly selected and fell, he got booted. Then I and the rest of the fire team left and the Sherpa alone in the raid. This caused me to give up raiding for a long time until I stumbled on a Twitch streamer, Syntax7. So after my little story, what is your guys' worst raid experience since your very first raid in Destiny 1 or Destiny 2? Kato, why don't you take the reins and go first on that?
Worst raid experience or worst LFG raid experience?
I think they would go hand in hand. So if I'm assuming your LFG experience was probably the worst overall. So why don't we hear that?
I don't LFG a lot in the first place. I do occasionally. The one that's really coming to mind is something very similar. It was actually King's Fall after it launched. I was chasing that Sherpa emblem. So I was joining LFGs just try and get it done. And joined this guy's LFG. And the dude that was doing it had no clue what was going on. He was just kind of there. But it was somebody else that had joined the LFG, was trying to take charge and just boss everybody around. And then comes to actually doing the encounter, doing the mechanics, and the dude has no clue what was going on. So it should have been just a simple explanation. We move forward, and be done with it. This dude wanted to nitpick and try and force everybody to run what he thought they should run. And it was just a nightmare. And the sad part is the raid never even got done. Like, everybody else got tired of it and left. Like, I really felt bad for the guy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have a really, really bad one, but one that sticks out would have been my day one DSE. It was probably one in most recent memory. And it was just because we got a group together and we were in there for a while and didn't complete it. If you know me, you know I don't sit still in raids, and I like to go in and get them done. And on a day one attempt, it's harder. And there's always a lot of personalities that clash. And yeah, that to me was probably the less than favorable one. It's just, butting heads, some people butting heads and whatnot, and just not getting it done. But I've LFG'd a couple times, and I think there was one that I joined. The guy just sounded toxic, and fortunately it didn't come together, so I don't think I ever ended up completing that particular one. And then I had LFG'd one other time to complete a master challenge in King's Fall, and actually went fairly well. The team was nice, everybody was cool and level-headed and just chilling. So I don't LFG, I just don't prefer it. So I couldn't say I really have really, really bad story to go on.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is I really don't have a bad one where it was bad for me. It was mainly just you run across those groups where they're either really chill and willing to help people out, or they're just fucking assholes. I mean,
yeah,
there is no in between apparently.
And I'm just the asshole that will boop you around on the map while I'm waiting for somebody to explain.
Yeah.
I can hear your sighs of disappointment every time I do it, Kato.
Yeah.
We do have a question from Average D2 Player. Question for the show. Do you think if Crucible was removed from the game, would we see a massive drop in players? Or do we think that Destiny 2 could survive without it and maybe even thrive?
I would say there'd probably be a drop. I don't know if it'd be a massive drop. Could it survive? Yes. Would it be as fun? No.
Yeah.
I know some of us, we go play other games when there's kind of a downtime in content, end of the season kind of thing. But it's still nice to get together with, a handful of people, go into Crucible and just bullshit. Where there's no mechanics, there's no callouts, you're just going in and just bullshitting. Kind of nice.
Yeah. So I don't. The question says, do you think if Crucible was removed from the game, will we see a massive drop? I'd like to preface this by I don't think Crucible will ever leave, but I would agree with you, Kato, that I don't think there would be a massive drop in players. I think majority of the player base would still stick around just for the story aspect of it. But I think you would definitely see a drop in daily user engagement. I don't know if it would necessarily thrive without it, but I do think it would stay sustainable, or it would be the game would sustain itself on story and PvE content alone. But I don't think it would be the result of having a massive player base.
Right. I mean, if they got rid of it, does that mean they could focus on more aspects of the game? Would it be better? Would it be worse? I mean, it's a very big what if question.
That would be a big rabbit hole to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Because there would be so much there that they could do if they had all teams focused on the PvE side and not have to worry about the Crucible and the PvP aspect of it.
Right. They wouldn't have to worry about balancing weapons and abilities, and you'd really have that power fantasy in PvE, more so than we already do.
Correct.
This is a rabbit hole. You wanted a short show.
I am okay with wherever the rabbit hole takes us. I don't even know what time we started it, to be honest with you. I do want to touch on this question because I don't know if it was talked about last week, and you can tell me if it was. If this one was from Native Raider, if you could take a weapon, melee or ranged, and an ability from another game and put it into Destiny, what would it be?
Yeah, it was touched last week, but you weren't there last week. So what's your answer?
Gotcha. And I did listen back to it, but I couldn't remember if that was specifically in there. Melee or range an ability from another game and put it into Destiny. What would it be? I don't know. I think Destiny has a lot of aspects from other games that I've played, right?
Yep.
I mentioned Hogwarts Legacy and the whole meme of everybody Revelio around to everything to highlight it, but you have that with your Ghost.
Yep.
You have your web slinging space Spider-Man aspect now with Strand, and I don't know. I haven't played. I know Borderlands had a lot of like different and unique guns, but it's been so long since I've actually played it. I can't remember what was in there. That is intriguing. Huh. I might have to come back and think on that one for a little bit.
The one thing I would really like to see, and this is just me, because Destiny has a lot of things in it that are in a lot of other games, and I want a crossbow. That's it. I just want a crossbow. We have bows, we have swords, we have glaives. Just give me a crossbow.
I like that idea. Now, would it be just like a bow with just standard ammo, nothing special or heavy?
I mean, you could make it special. I mean, I don't know. Make it heavy. I mean, do something unique with it. Make it an exotic. There you go. Yeah. I mean, you can live out your fantasy as a space cowboy if you really wanted to. So, I mean, there's options. Like, Destiny is so unique when it comes to weapons and abilities. It kind of fits a lot of different things. So it's kind of hard to be like, well, what do you really want that some other game has? Well, I want a crossbow.
Yeah, I could see that. And, I mean, it's got pretty much everything else. Swords, glaives.
Axes. Well, soon to have void axes. You have shields. I mean...
You have a hammer? Titan's got a hammer.
Yeah, Titan's got a hammer. Yeah, it's got everything. I mean, what else do you need?
Right. That's why I have trouble playing so many other games. It's because I always come back to Destiny. It's got everything I need.
Yeah.
Mute the mic for a second while I cough. And, yeah, I don't really know, Native. That's an excellent question. And, Mr. Monkey, again, I'll come back to your question next week, but I will answer it temporarily and say his best birthday present is a night off of recording the podcast. He'll probably have a different answer when he comes back.
Probably.
All right. This week in Destiny. You mentioned there was some patches or changes coming.
Yeah, they give us a preview of mid-season armor and weapon changes. Anti-swords are getting a change. They're now going to require full class ability. So, sorry about your luck, Titans.
I'm okay with that. I don't use them.
Yeah, they're kind of, I would say they're kind of a problem in certain PvP aspects. But and they no longer provide an improved slide. Woo.
Woo.
Young Ahamkara Spine reducing the health on the trip button. Oh, and they removed the 50% damage resist. That's a big change. And grenade energy is now provided on ability kills instead of damage. So it's an unfortunate change, but it is one that has been needed for a while. Like 100%. That's the only two changes they're listing. So, weapon changes. Some machine guns are getting an increase to recoil globally and reduce the stability bonus on mouse and keyboard. I'm not reading all the auto rifles. There's some changes there.
The SMG one, the recoil, that would be nice. It's not a big difference, 10% in the broad scheme of things, but I use SMGs quite a bit.
What do you mean?
Got to increased. I was reading it a little bit differently. I guess I merged them together, so they're increasing recoil, not reducing it.
Correct.
Okay, so that sucks because I use them a lot.
They're reducing the stability on mouse and keyboard from 20% to 10%.
Which is even worse. I don't use it on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of needed. There's some big auto rifle changes that I'm not reading all the way through. Pulse rifles are seeming to say they're changing damage fall off on pulse rifles. Yeah, I'm not reading all this. This is the whole DES department here.
Yeah, there's a lot in there about zooms and scalers and damage fall off scalers, and the TLDR is go read it.
Yeah, pretty much. Nothing big. I think it's just a little more fine tuning, so that's nice. Fusion rifles are getting changed. Sniper. It seems like everything's kind of getting touched. The snipers is a big one. They're changing the airborne accuracy penalty. They're reducing it. Aggressive snipers decrease body shot damage from 157.5 to 135. Increase critical hit multiplier from 3 times to 3.5. Adaptive. It seems like they're lowering body shot damage across the board and increasing the crit multiplier by a very small fraction.
So the question I have, because these numbers lead me to believe more PvP based.
I think it's both.
I don't think they said if it's a global change or a PvP change, but
it's global.
Yeah, but those numbers, the way they say it doesn't feel like that to me doesn't equate out to the 157.5 to 135 for the body shot damage. Doesn't equate out to what it would look like in game on a PvE side.
I'm sorry, I'm reading.
Yeah, no worries.
I see what it is. So it is kind of PvP based. They really want you to get those crits, and they're reducing that damage on body because in the high end of PvP, even if it doesn't kill you, you're still out of the fight because you are so critical. That's why they're reducing the damage.
Gotcha. And I did see that little tidbit here. So this change, it it does affect the PvE, but they're buffing snipers in Season 23 for PvE by 15%.
So, yeah, as I said, it'll offset that damage, which is nice. Now, I wonder... They didn't state anything about exotic snipers, so I'm curious how this is all going to affect that.
Are you thinking more for the Whisper and...
Yeah. Like a flat 15% increase in PvE on Whisper would make it viable for quite a few things.
It would definitely put it back in the running. I mean, there was a time when it had its time to shine, right? When it first came out from that exotic mission, and a lot of people were using it.
Yeah. Yeah, we even tried it in Kingsfall and Oryx. I mean...
And it actually held up pretty well near one phase with all of us running it.
It was with 5 of us.
Yeah.
5 in a div, which with that, you really don't need the div.
Correct.
So it's viable for certain encounters, but for most, it's not.
You're definitely not going to get up in Oryx's space and sniper him.
Nah. Shotguns are changing too. That doesn't really affect me in any way. Doesn't seem like it's any PvE change. It's more PvP. There's some perks changing. Perfect Float is the timer's being extended. I don't know what that all comes on, but okay. And Kickstart is getting a change, which is, yeah, they're just reducing the bonus damage from it from 20 to 15. So, viable change. The checkmate tuning, like they talked about last week. The big one, something else they added is they're increasing the score from 100 to 125 and decreasing the frequency of heavy from 90 to 180. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, kind of dig that.
As far as future stuff, they're increasing the base damage of glaives and PvE and snipers as stated above. Increased damage against minor combatants for pulses and autos. Greatly increased damage against champions for Revision 0 and Vex Mythoclast. That's interesting.
So the auto rifles and the Vex Mythoclast changes are very, very interesting. I'm wondering how that's going to play out once the buffs go live. How gameplay and choices for those weapons are going to shift.
Right. I mean, all right. I've always thought Vex was already pretty strong, but with the RPM change, I mean, it kind of, I guess maybe it needs it now. I don't know. It also makes me wonder what they're going to make fusion rifles next season, as far as artifact mod. Like, they're giving it, as quoted, greatly increased damage against champions. What are fusion rifles going to be in the artifact? But that's just me. There's a cutscene archive update. That's cool.
You skipped one thing.
What did I skip?
They are also very excited to finally get the glaive rework into our hands, including some changes they've made to the exotic class glaives to make them more effective and enjoyable. I don't think they've touched on that previously, if I remember correctly.
I don't think they have. I'm curious what they're changing. I mean, the exotic glaives are they're just kind of there. They're really not that good.
Well, glaives in general. Yeah, they do a thing, but glaives in general were kind of when they first came out, right? They were kind of a fad, and it seems like that fad has quickly worn off.
Well, I mean, they've tried to adjust and tune them so much now that I mean, they were a problem in PvP, and then they were overpowered in PvE. So then they gave him a nerf on both sides of it, and now the nerf was, I don't want to say it was too much, but honestly it kind of was too much. So they're not really viable in in-game content, because it's not like you're getting up and close with them.
Correct.
Like, that's just a terrible idea because you can't anymore. I mean,
In GMs or master raids, you have to have your distance.
yeah. This is kind of nice. Anyways, the archive update.
Yeah, I should probably go back and watch those, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I started in Season of Arrivals, so I think I remember seeing the Season of the Worthy one because I started right before Arrivals launched. So I remember that cutscene. And then looking at some of these others, like, that's it's hard to believe I've been playing that long. Like, that's not even that long, but still.
It's been years.
Yeah. They're still working on the Cotizen 48-hour challenge emblem. Apparently people still don't have it. I feel bad for them, honestly. Known issues. Ongoing air codes. Hey, look, Hive Swords will occasionally consume a player's enlightenment, but fail to be picked up in Kuroda's reprise. We know it's annoying.
I was reading that as you read the first one. I was like, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully that is on the radar to fix soon.
Yeah. I'm curious how long this known issues list is, but I don't want to look.
Right.
Let's see. Arts. Movies. Wallpapers. I don't know. I do like the your light fades away wallpaper. Like I like that.
Yeah, I actually do as well. I was looking at that. Save image as. We're just gonna desktop that. And then don't forget about that eye that's highlighted on Guardians in the last line there. It's a cute little cat. That's me waiting for you to click it and look at the cat, Kato.
Where? What?
And as Ikora said, continue your ties, Guardians. In the word Guardians, and the eye.
Oh, way down there. I hadn't got that far. That is definitely a cat. Jesus. Did you read the Deck of Whispers article?
I did not. I've been slacking on those.
I didn't either.
It's a pretty long one.
It is kind of neat. If you go into the helm and look at the ritual table, you can actually see all the cards laying out as like a tarot reading. It's pretty neat.
And you can buy it from the buy a deck of cards from the Bungie store.
Man, I'm so tempted. Not gonna lie.
I'll DM you a link. Don't you worry. $30. It's not awful.
No, that's really not. That's really tempting. Not gonna lie.
So now the formality of this week in Destiny is over. You mentioned at the beginning, you said you finished the story and it was kind of meh.
Yeah.
So I did finish the story in my very limited game time sessions this week, along with trying to finish up some stuff for the title. And I'm curious. So let's kind of walk through it, and then I'll get your kind of overall thoughts on it, and kind of what you thought might what you would expect or what you would have hoped for, rather. So we do our final tithe in that last section of the rituals or the summoning rituals section opened up.
Yeah.
Right. And we had the boss in the end, which wasn't awful to compete against. And I think when you do the mission, you join in solo. And I did that solo.
I actually had it bug out.
Oh, no. You had to restart, or?
Yep. He, when he comes running in, where you're in the shield or the bubble at the very end, I
Yes.
popped a tether on him before he actually slammed his sword into the ground and his shield disappeared, and he ran out of the bubble.
Huh.
Yeah, it was kind of annoying.
Hunters and their tethers always breaking things.
Yep.
So you kill him, we take him down, we get our final tithe, right? And then, so it's interesting, we have Amaru resurrect Savathun.
Yeah.
And she says something to the fact of, you look good in out of your shell or in your shell or something like that, yeah, to Eris. And then Eris drops her again, and I guess tithes with her to take her power away. And basically does something with it, right? And cuts off not Savathun, Zevir Wrath from the throne world. That's kind of the basics of it. So we cut Zevir Wrath off, and then she basically gives up the power?
Yeah. Pretty much. The long and short, yeah. That's pretty much what happens.
That's the TLDR. I was kind of left wanting more. And
yeah.
And I want to hear your thoughts on this, but I kind of wish that she didn't give up the power and kind of expanded on the whole having or holding that power and doing more with it. Because my understanding is we needed Savathun to be able to open the portal, but we kill her, take her power, cut Zevir Wrath off, give the power up. Savathun runs away after being resurrected again, and then what? Where does that leave us? How do we get in?
Yeah. I don't know. That's I think I agree with the fact of like wanting more. It was definitely not. It didn't end how I thought it was going to end. Like I thought we were building up. We were actually going to go, hunt down Zebu. I'm glad we didn't, because I know Dez has talked about it before, where it's he really hopes they don't give her the seasonal treatment, like make her a seasonal boss. But it may end up that way. Who knows?
I did hear him say that. I think it was last week's episode when I would listen back to it, right? And
was
then
it last week?
Was it the week before?
I don't know. It's been a minute since he's talked about it.
But I do remember hearing that.
Yeah.
And the fact that she has her power cut off now from the throne world, or whatever it is, cut off from the throne world, could almost force them in, not necessarily force them, but also lead them to put her into a seasonal content, because it's making her seem that she isn't what she used to be. She is now an easy target.
So effectively, Eris severed Zevir Wrath from her own throne world. So now she is mortal. So she can be killed. It is no longer a threat. Effectively.
And in turn can now be placed in seasonal content.
Unfortunately. I don't know that they will. I hope they put her as part of like the story mission for Final Shape, but who knows?
I mean, we know that the witness is going to be the raid boss, right? So there has to be a culmination or end to the story mission to lead up to that. I mean, she potentially could be part of that, final shape story mission. But honestly, who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I hope they put her in there as part of like I guess like halfway through the campaign boss kind of thing. That would be interesting. But who knows?
Yeah, interesting.
Like, I'm sure if somebody actually reads the lore on it and does a little more digging, there's probably more that's actually going on there, but I did none of those things. So I don't know what to tell you.
If Dez was here, he would set us straight.
Pretty much. It's his own fault.
You hear that, Dez? Next week, you need to explain.
Please. Somebody explain.
Man. We covered a lot. Doesn't have to be a long episode.
Nah.
And before we depart for the evening, is there anything else that we missed this week that you've done, want to cover?
Not that I can think of.
Fair.
Yeah, no, not that I can think of.
Well, with that, tell everybody where they can find you.
In the Discord. Discords, plural. At Kato. You'll find me somewhere.
Is that discord.gg/Kato?
No.
Do you have your own Discord yet?
I do.
And your own podcast?
Oh, God, no. I know we were joking about it earlier.
Hey, I had to ask.
Yeah. No.
Interesting. Fair enough. You can find me on X, Cyn_Media, over at Blue Sky, which I probably have some more invites now, so if you want one, hit me up, slide up into my DMs.
Forgot about Blue Sky.
Yeah, you're on there too. Cyn Media.
Yeah.
And then, of course, here in the Discord, next to you all lovely faces, the plethora of Discords around the Owl Sector Alliance. Don't forget to check out the other folks here in Owl Sector. You got Guardian Downcast. You have Two Titans and a Hunter, Potato Thumbs, and the Blueberry Lounge. All great folks. You'll see me in all those places as well. You can find the show pretty much all the places. Twitter, The Guardian Hub, or on the lovely website, theguardianhub.com.
The best hub on the net.
Thank you, Kato. And thank you to all the magical listeners out there. I apologize for not having a live show this week. We're keeping it brief and to the point since we're missing some of the fam. But, as always, until next week, have a good one.
Bye.
You gotta put more bye.
Nah.